7 months ago, I sold all of my stuff and saying goodbye to my friends and families and burned all the bridges. Decided to live a life that is 100% true to myself. But it took a long time for me to make these decisions, and I want to start the stories 4 years ago. So 4 years ago, I was still freediving instructor. I've been teaching freediving for 8 years, traveling around the world, living in different countries, and I love freediving. It's my dream job. I never feel like I was working any single day for the past 8 years. But things just change, things evolve along the time. And 4 years ago, I was hitting my 30s, and I start to think that, am I going to teach freediving and go into the water every single day in my 40s or 50s? And it's pretty obvious the answer is no, because it's a very physical demanding job, and I couldn't see myself doing it until I get old, even though I enjoy it. And it's been like 8 years, and I wanted something new, I want a different challenge. I want to grow and expand. But it's really hard because I'm not 20 years old anymore. And the thing is, in your 30s, I get so comfortable with my life, my salary, my lifestyles, and everything. And it's just really scary to just change to a different career path. Especially, I was earning a lot of money and I had a lot of freedom. I only work on weekends. And most of the weekdays I was in the nature, hang out with my friend, doing a lot of fun stuff, or traveling or training in different countries. And it's hard for me to accept the salary gap, because if you're earning this much and you're gonna start something completely different, you're gonna start from here, and it's really hard for me to have the mental preparation for it. And also, I feel like when I was in my 20s, I believe I can survive just a bread a day. I had nothing, so I'm not afraid to be broke, and I just go for what I dream of. But in my 30s, then yeah, I feel like I kind of lose the courage and the confidence for myself in my 20s. And also, there's just, you don't have a lot of time, when you're 30s, you hit like 40s really fast, just in 10 years. And how long am I going to work? I'm not gonna go into work until I'm 99. So the price of the time you lose, it hits totally different when you're in your 20s. And I wanted to make sure the path I choose is gonna work. I'm gonna be successful. I'm not gonna starve to death if I change my job. And I was just, all these thoughts was just like looping in my mind, and I was just very scared and wanted to make sure I make the right call, I choose the right path. But the thing is, you're not gonna know if you just keep thinking, because it's just endless loop in your mind. You have to actually do it, to have action, to try everything. So you're gonna learn and you're gonna know if it's gonna work or not. But I was just too scared, and it lasted for 2 years. I wanted to quit my job for 2 years, but I was just too scared. And And it got like really worse. At some point I was just rotting in my bed all day, and my room is a mess, and I would just smoke a lot of weed, even though physically and mentally I don't want it and I don't enjoy it at that point. But I wanted to finish all this weed as fast as possible, and then I realized it's because my soul is hurting. I was having too much pain inside me, and it kind of become a self-sabotage behavior. It just really, I would call it, it's like hell. I was in hell, but I couldn't do anything about it because I was stuck in my own head. I was limiting myself. And for the past 8 years, really, I don't feel like I'm working not a single day, because I was always in the flow. I enjoyed teaching so much, enjoying freediving so much. But then one day I had a course and I was supposed to get up. And that day when I wake up, I was just staring at my ceiling. And I couldn't go out. I couldn't get outside of my house. I was so annoyed. And at that point, I realized that maybe I get depressed, because it never happened, ever. And I know that I really needed to change, otherwise my mind's gonna fucked up. Yeah. So I made a decision to quit my job. And the funny thing is, in that month, there's like, I meet 5 random people, and in a random conversation, 5 of them, they would just start talking like, I think you're gonna like Australia. I think you're gonna enjoy Australia a lot. And I was like, fuck, there's 5 different people just randomly start to talk about, I think you're gonna enjoy Australia a lot. And I was like, okay, maybe that's a sign. Maybe I should go to Australia. So making the decision to go to Australia is actually not fun at all. Because I feel like I was living in a utopian world, because I was only working 2 days in a week, and I was earning a lot of money, and I was also have a lot of time. I can schedule my own course, and I was just like flying to different countries, traveling or training. And I know that's not a, most of people don't live like that. Most people have 9 to 5 jobs. So I know I was living in a bubble that is not the most of the world look like. And I was feeling, I was very innocent. I feel like I was Peter Pan. If you ever heard of Peter Pan syndrome, it means you're still a child when you're supposed to be an adult. And I was like my 30s, but I still innocent as a child. And I just know, making the call to Australia, there's number one goal is I have to become an adult. I have to change, and I have to really restore the confidence in myself when I was in my 20s. And I have to save a lot of money before I transitioned into a totally different career path, because I was not saving at all. I was not saving at all. I was just invest the money in myself and also buying a lot of outdoor equipment and traveling and training stuff. Yeah. And then the COVID hit. And I was just, oh, it was tough. It was tough when the COVID hit. I had to sell a lot of stuff. So I need to go to Australia to, just work, grind for the whole year, so I have enough money to start a new life. So I said goodbye to my ex. We were still in a relationship at the time. And I remember when I was on the plane to Australia, my face is like, it's really bitter. I don't feel like, yeah, I'm going adventurous working holiday in Australia. No, I was like, I feel like I'm going to serve military. Like all the guys back home, when they reach 18, they have to serve military, to become a grown man. And I know it's gonna be a really challenge year for me, but it's necessary. You know, you have to have a lot of challenge and pressure to become a diamond. So I set my goal to do tree planting in Australia, because, as you know, tree planting, if you Google it, it's one of the hardest jobs in the world. You burn 6,000 to 8,000 calories a day, and to let you know the intensity, and sorry about this, I'm gonna show you how much weight I lose in just a month while tree planting. And it's like, it's like this. In just 1 month. See, it's crazy. Also, tree planting is like, if I can climb Mount Everest and I can climb every mountain in the world, if I can survive tree planting, it's physically and mentally tough as hell. And if I can survive this and do a good job, I have the confidence I can start my new career. I'm a very extreme person. I like to push myself over the limits. And I'm gonna thrive from hell. If you throw me into hell, I'm gonna fucking thrive from hell. And that's the way how I built. It doesn't suit everyone. I know it. You don't have to do this. But then I have to wait for the season to start, and I have to wait for a couple months, because you need a lot of rain, otherwise the tree will die if you plant them in the dry season. So while I was waiting, I applied my first job in Australia, which is in the meat factory, because I eat meat and I want to know, the meat we buy in supermarket, how does it come from farm into the market? And I feel like if I didn't have the guts to see the process, it's a lot of blood and stuff, I feel like I'm a hypocrite. And man, working in meat factory, I don't know if it's my factory. It's just there's so many criminals in that factory. I feel like I was in Orange and the New Black. I feel like I was learning to survive in the jail, man. And it's pretty crazy. And it's the first time ever I worked super hard in my life. Like, I work 12 hours shifts and sometimes even longer because there's so much meat to process and you have to work extra hours, and it's like really physical demanding, like you're carrying boxes and stuff like that, you know. And I was like, Jesus. But then I see so many people. I meet a Vietnamese lady, an old lady. She was working in that factory for more than 30 years, and she's the only one in her family to work in Australia, and she worked like such a long time just because she can send money to Vietnam to support her family. And I met this Solomon sisters. They were also working really hard. It's a very tough conditioning in the meat factory, and they were just, trying to save money for their family to build houses on Solomon Islands. And it blows my mind to see all these people working so hard and take responsibilities for their loved ones, because I feel like I'm pretty lucky. My parents, they retire early, and there's no one I need to take care of in my family except for myself. I only need to take responsibilities for myself. And oh my god, I was feeling the first time the weight of reality, the weight of how this world actually looks like. I was having a tiny panic attack. I was lying on my bed and feel like I couldn't breathe, and like the weight, and I was like, is this how other people live? Like, how can they live like this? But what do you do, I gotta adapt. I cannot be beaten up by the weight of the reality. I gotta adapt to it. And that's the first lesson I learned in Australia. What is the real life looks like, real world looks like. And a couple months later, I got the call from the tree planting company. They said, we're gonna start the season and let's just go. And Jesus, it's super hard. At the beginning I was like, because you need to carry like 20 to 30 kilos on your waist, and you're planting in mountains and you have to plant super fast because the more tree you plant, the more money you earn, and I need money. Every second of the planting, the first month, I was suffering. Every second I was thinking like, I want to call it a day. I want to just call it a day. I want to get on the car and just fucking rest. Every second it feels like eternal. And I was the slowest person in the whole company. I feel like I was playing the big lead, but I was supposed to playing, the league B. And everyone is so fast. Can you feel, like I was like dying and planting, and finally I finished this lane, and then when I look back, everyone's already gone over there. Fuck me. And it just, oh my god. But people are supporting me. Everyone is super nice. They was like always encouraging me. Open, you got this. I know you're gonna be a good planter. You got this. Just plan. Don't think. Just plan. You're gonna survive. And wow, every morning we have to drive the car to the block, and it's around like 40 minutes drive. I will have stomach pain and was like terrifying because I know I'm gonna suffer today. I'm gonna suffer later the whole day. But I have, there's no option to quit. There's just no option to quit, because if I quit at this point, I'm gonna fall back into hell, and even worse, because I would feel so bad about myself. You know, I couldn't reach the goal I set to myself. I feel like I'm a loser, and I just need to push through it. And it needs to get done. That's what I was thinking. I just need to get this done. You know, I can't quit. But then one day, I was like, today, this is the day. Today is the day I'm ready to suffer. I don't care if I'm gonna be dead body tomorrow and I still need to plant more trees. I'm ready to suffer today. So that day, I was just plan, don't think, just plan. And then I start to get into this rhythm. And I was starting to have this adrenaline rush, you know. I was pushing and I was actually enjoy it. And it's really funny because for the whole month, every second, I was thinking, I'm a creative person, and this like repetition job is, I'm not built for this. It's not my strength. I hate repetition job. But then after a month, I was actually doing fine, and I realized that, yeah, it doesn't matter what kind of career path I start in the future, and it doesn't matter if I have the skill or not. As long as I don't quit, as long as I show up every single day, I'm gonna be better every single day. It's just inevitable. It's just inevitable. And it's such a cliche. Everybody knows it's such a cliche. But by knowing, it's powerless. You have to actually put yourself in there and experience it, so you feel it in your bone. And that really gives me a lot of confidence. While I was planting trees, during the night I was also thinking about, so what am I going to do? You know, what career path I'm gonna choose in the future. And the thing is, in freediving, I love it. It's my dream job. And I've been working for 8 years, but things just changed after 8 years. So this time I was like, okay, I want to do something that it can sustain for the rest of my life. And I meet a lot of tree planters. They inspire me a lot, because I know this couple, they were like doing this tough job and to save a lot of money because they want to buy land in Spain, and to live a off-grid life, a sustainable life for themselves. And I met this Argentina brother. He's like into Nepal and India, like love trekking in the mountains. And the reason why he do tree planting is because he can have a lot of money in a short period of time. So he can be free, he can be a trekking guide in Nepal, and it doesn't matter if he got only a little money from the trekking job. And they inspire me so much because I was like, oh my god, these guys are, following their heart. They are true to their self. They are really honest about what they want, and they are pursuing it. And that is the moment I made the decision that living an authentic life and 100% true to myself, it's the only way to live for me. Because in the past 2 years, for the 2 years I was living in fear. I wanna change, but I was in scarcity, and I was so scared to face my heart, my desire. And I don't want to live like that anymore. That's just not sustainable. And my soul is literally dying every moment. So I was thinking a lot. What is the thing I can do for the rest of my life? And I come up an answer, which is the way I live. How I live is actually, I treat my life as a spiritual practice every single day. The awareness and trying to understand myself, trying to heal myself, and I'm super into psychology, philosophy, spirituality, and all this stuff. This is how I live. I think Tao, it's just my life path. It's an endless journey. Once you start, it's not gonna finish. It's endless journey. It's a lifetime practice. And also, I know I am a nomadic soul. I wanna live in different countries and live in the mountains, live in the middle of the desert. I need nature to survive. And I love YouTube, so everything just makes sense to having a YouTube channel. It's just gonna, it fits into this. I can live in the mountain. I'm living in Peru at the moment, in the mountain by myself, and making videos and uploading. It gives me the freedom to be able to live everywhere I want. But the most important thing is, I never feel like I fit into the system. And it's just very lonely and scary, especially you're not fitting into the system. When you're in the system, you can follow the path. There's a very clear path, a lot of choices you can make, and a lot of people already walking on the same path, and it gives you a lot of sense of secure. But I just can't live like that because it's just not me. And if I'm not me, I'm dying. Simple as that. And I know I'm not the only one who's feeling like this. And I know even if you're working in a corporate job, probably if you don't like your job or if you don't like your life, deep down in your alone time, something is whispering to you. Your heart is whispering all the time. And I'm not the only one who's feeling like this. I know this probably a lot of people are feeling like this. And I just don't want anyone to feel like this because it's just not fun. And this channel is actually, I treat it as a experience. I treat my life now as a experiment, because if I follow my heart and I align with myself, and if I make it, then I am a living proof to my friend, to everyone, that it's safe to follow your heart. And people, like, you guys, people, you guys are not stupid. You didn't follow your heart because you don't know what's good for you. It's just because it's scary. It's really scary if you're walking a path that belongs to you, because there's no sign, there's no one in front of you. It's like baby penguin. The first time they have to jump off the cliff and into the ocean, every penguin knows they need to jump, but every penguin is like, are you gonna jump? Are you gonna jump? And because I made a decision to live an authentic life is the only way for me to survive, to exist in this world, I'm gonna jump. And if I make it, I can, say, guys, it's safe to jump. Come on. And if my existence itself can make just a person make you feel less scared, less lonely, and more safe to follow your heart, then that's awesome. That's awesome, man. So this is why I create this channel, to let you guys know you're not alone. And following your heart, it's scary. It's really scary. And I'm not saying it's easy. It's it's really tough. Sometimes I really want to cry. And I feel really alone. But I want you to know, scared is actually not always bad, because scare means you are choosing courage over comfort. You're choosing truth over safety. You're choosing growth over stability. And you're choosing authenticity over fitting in. You're choosing your soul over your conditioning. And you're choosing leadership over hiding. And this is why our mind freaks out. Not because we're wrong, but because we are finally choosing the life that is ours. And fast forward to now, after 7 months after I sold everything and just go, I want to share with you is I don't feel regret at all. I'm living the best life every single day, even though I still I don't have income at the moment and my bank account is shrinking. But what I learned is it doesn't matter what the outside looks like. It matters is your heart. And it's a really good practice. You start to feel more comfortable in the unknown. You start to feel more comfortable in the discomfortability. And I feel a lot of gratitude. I feel so much gratitude every single day. I'm like, thank you, and thank myself to have the courage to walk my own path. And yesterday I was having a moment because I was receiving a lot of support from you guys from the last video, all the comments and likes. I know it's I'm having a real connection with you, a human, not just views, not just numbers. And I was always saying that you guys are not alone in this journey, and the support I was having from you guys showed me I was not alone as well. And I was like looking back for this past 4 years, I was living in scared. But now I still feel scared sometimes, but I have a lot more gratitude. And I can manage my scare because I don't let my scare to steer the wheel how I live. I try to ground myself and come back to myself and appreciate every little things I have. And I just wish you can feel how I feel right now. Man. And this is why this channel is called The Space Between Us, because it's not just about me, it's about us. We are having a real connection through the space. And I want you guys to know I'm super grateful for you. And you're not alone in this journey. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.